Entering labels and values. Now we're ready to begin adding our data. Most people begin by adding the labels to mark rows and columns if this has not already been done. Remember, too, that labels should always be started by typing a single quotation mark immediately before the letters and or numbers of that label. For example, if we wanted to add a September '04 figure to this particular worksheet, I would type it by typing the single quotation mark or the apostrophe and typing September '04. Now in this case, as you'll notice, we've got these entries are actually spanning two columns. So what I'm going to do here, and you could do it, is select the two columns which I want to merge into a single cell, then go up here and click Merge and Center so that I can now provide labels for each of the columns of that data down here. When entering numbers, note that you can either use the numbers above your letters on the main part of your keyboard or use the numeric keyboard usually found at the right of your actual keyboard. Some find the numeric keypad easier to use for data entry. For example, if you see a lot of professionals, like at the IRS, for example, entering data, they're usually going to be working fast and furiously over their numeric keypad. Also, understand that you usually need to press the numlock key on your keyboard to engage the numeric keypad. Values may be entered as whole numbers, dates, percentages, or decimals, but you usually want consistency of style within a particular row or column, if not throughout the sheet. Also, it's important to realize that you can enter or even edit material on multiple worksheets in the same workbook simultaneously. To do this, it depends on whether the sheets are adjacent to each other. For example, Sheets 1 and Sheet 2, or Sheet 2 and Sheet 3, versus something like Sheet 1 and Sheet 3, which aren't right next to each other. To select multiple adjacent sheets for simultaneous entry, you'd select the first worksheet tab, then press and hold your keyboard's Shift key while you select the additional worksheet tabs, like that. When you want to select multiple sheets that don't happen to sit right next to each other, you would select the first worksheet tab. For example, here, we would maybe unselect that, and that's how you would ungroup sheets, for example. When you have sheets grouped together like this, you would right-click on the sheet and select Ungroup Sheets. When you want to select multiple sheets that don't happen to coincide to one another, you would click on the first sheet, then press and hold your keyboard's Control key and press the other sheet, or as many sheets as necessary. What if you need to add or edit the same data on all worksheets in a workbook? To do this, you'd select the first worksheet in question, right-click, and then select All Sheets. You'll notice they're all now highlighted. Also note that if you enter something incorrectly or otherwise make a mistake, you can usually undo this quickly by opening the Edit menu and selecting Undo. For example, let me enter 80123 here, but I realize that that's actually an entry for another column, so I would go up here, open the Edit menu, and select Undo Typing 801.23 and C8. Now it's disappeared. Because the undo feature works in reverse order, it's best to do this immediately upon spotting an error so that you do not have to go back and undo intermediate steps. Also, once you begin to enter data, you should be sure to save and name your workbook early on, rather than at the very end of a long entry session. That way, if something happens, you don't have to worry about work being lost or being kind of lost in a temporary workbook. But here, for example, we're just going to go through and type. You'll also notice, too, that you can enter data directly into the cell, or you can enter it on the formula from the formula bar. For example, if I wanted to enter the net for this particular month of May for food, it might be something like $2,984.32, and then I'd press Enter, and it would just be entered in the cell exactly as I want it to.